Good morning, ma'am. Shall I start?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. So, students, good morning, everyone. I am Pushpa Hankare from Dharavi TC Municipal English Secondary School. Welcomes you all in statewide live online lectures for Standard 10. But before starting this subject, I would like to give you some instructions like keep your mic on mute mode. Kindly raise your hand if you want to ask any kind of a question, doubt, or if you want to give an answer. Mute your mic again after giving your answer, asking a question or doubt. Keep your notebook and pen handy to write down some important points. And update your Zoom profile by writing your name, standard, and division. So let's start, student. Today we will begin with our favorite subject, that is Science and Technology Part 2. Students, life means living matters. Life has such a no definition, but life means living matters. Okay, living matters as such matters that show certain characteristics. And to live a life, we survive. To survive in this environment, we do some kind of activities. Those activities are known as life processes. So today's our topic is life processes in living organism part 2. This is a lesson number 3, life processes in living organism part 2. Just now I said life means living matters, and living matters as such matter that shows certain attributes or characteristics. Let's see what are those characteristics. Today we are going to take the revision of this chapter. So cell, what is a cell? The first characteristic is cell. That matter has a cell. Cell is a structural and functional unit of life. It may be prokaryotic cell or eukaryotic cell. Okay, prokaryotic cells means those who doesn't have a true nucleus, but eukaryotic cells means they have a true nucleus. Okay, then they show a cellular level organization. The first and most basic level of organization is the cellular level organization. Here you can see you will be having a cell, then group of cell will form a tissue, then tissue will form a organ, many organs will unite, will form a organ system, and then many organ system will definitely form a organism. So you will see this, that is a cellular level organization. Next, you will show that matter will grow and they will show some kind of a development. Here you can see the plant is growing. Here you can see a boy is moving. Here you can see a growth and development, how the child is growing and he is developing. So matter shows growth and development. Growth is the progressive increase in the size of the child or part of the child, okay, or increase in height or bones or muscular level. And development is a progressive acquisition of various skills or abilities, such as head support, speaking, walking, okay. So then they show response to stimulus. Any kind of a stimulus, if you're providing, they will show the responses. Here you can see a mimosa plant. They are closing their leaves. So they are giving a they are giving response to the stimulus. Okay. In this way, human beings are also give the response to the stimulus. Like if you are hungry, so you eat food. If you are feeling cold, what do? You put on your jackets, right? If it's raining, you take out your umbrella. So you are giving responses to the stimulus. Now we need a nutrition, right? Nutrition means what? We need a healthy food and material to grow. So they show nutrition. Then respiration. We respire. Why we respire? We need oxygen to survive, right? So we do respiration with the help of respiratory system. Then transportation is also seen, like we eat food and that material, whatever is the material, that get digested, and with the help of blood, the oxygen and the nutrition is provided to each cell of the body. So transportation. Then excretion means is a process by which metabolic waste is eliminated from an organism. So lungs, kidneys, skin, these are the parts which eliminates the waste material from your body. Then control and coordination. In humans, controls and coordination takes place through the nervous system and endocrine system. Here you can see a nervous system. Nervous system consists of nerve fibers and nerve cells which transmit impulses of the nerve between different parts of the body. Whatever the impulses see here, they are getting transported from one brain to the each part of the body and from each part of the body to the brain. This is the endocrine system where the chemicals messenger system is there. It is made up of a gland and produce and secretes hormones, chemical substances produced in the body that regulates the activity or cell organs. Okay, so these are some of the processes. Then we show the adaptation characteristic that allow an animal to survive in its environment. These characteristics allow the animal to find food, protect themselves, communicate, and mate. Can be physical or behavioral. See here, he has adapted, the polar bear had adapted himself. So he has a small ears to reduce heat loss. Okay, sharp teeth to eat prey easily. He has a sharp teeth. He has adapted it to that particular environment. Okay, in this way, thick white fur to help keep the bear warm and for uh, thick layer of the fat to help insulate for warmth. So these are the adaptations done in this animal. Homeostasis, the tendency to maintain a stable, relatively constant internal environment is called homeostasis, like regulate the body temperature, water concentration, blood pressure. Okay, so these are the characteristics seen in the matter. When you see this characteristic, you say that is a life. So see, what are the characteristics of life? Cell, cellular level organization, growth and development, response to stimuli, metabolism, respiration, circulation, excretion, control and coordination, okay, homeostasis, adaptation. If you see these characteristics or one of these characteristics, you can say that is a live matter. Okay. Now, what do we need to be alive? To survive, we need energy. Important life processes for production of energy. So whenever we need energy, we eat food, and by that food we get the energy, where these three processes are important for the production of energy. One is nutrition, second is respiration, third is transportation, which is done in the mitochondria, which helps to produce the energy. Okay, essential life processes to live. So these are all life processes, but what are the essential life processes to live? These are respiration, nutrition, excretion, circulation, excretion, control and coordination. So these are the essential life processes to live. Okay. Now, in the last lecture, in the last chapter, you have learned about the cell division. It is also important life process for growth and development. How it helps? When the cell divides, then only we grow and we develop ourselves. Okay, so it is also an important life process for growth and development. See that cell division, the one cell divides into two. Here, the process of formation of two new cells from the pre-existing cell is called cell division. So this is a pre-existing cell. It is dividing, nucleus is dividing, cytoplasm is dividing, and it is forming two new cells. That is nothing but the cell division. See here in this picture, you can see how the cell is dividing. Here I am showing you the one cell, how it divides. And here the group of cells, they continuously divides themselves. And because of this, the growth and development is taking place. There are two ways by which the cell divides. One is mitosis and second is meiosis. You have learned this in your chapter number 2. Now let us see what is mitosis, where the mitosis occurs. Mitosis occurs in somatic and stem cells. See, mitosis where the parent cell give rise to two daughter cells which are exactly similar to the parent cell. How is the parent cell here? At the same, like the same, you will be having a two daughter cells. Okay, same number of chromosomes. You can say the diploid cells. So same parent cell, one parent cell will give rise to two daughter cells which are exactly similar to the parent cell. That is nothing but the mitosis. And mitosis occurs in somatic cells and stem cells. Okay. Now, what are somatic cells? A somatic cell is any cell of the body except sperm and egg cell. Somatic cells are diploid, meaning they contain two sets of chromosome, one inherited from each parent. So only you have to leave the sperm cell and egg cell. Except that, all the cells of the body are known as somatic cells, where you will find the mitosis. Okay, mitosis means same daughter cells like a parent cell. Stem cells are the body's raw material cells from which all other cells with specialized functions are generated. Stem cells are cells with the potential to develop into many different types of cells in the body. So they have a potential to develop into different cells of the body. Okay, so somatic cells and stem cells. See how the mitosis is taking place in a cell. Metaphase, anaphase, telophase, cytokinesis, and you will find two daughter cells. This is a mitosis. Then meiosis occurs in germ cells. Germ cells are the cells which is known as sperm cell in the male and egg in the female. So meiosis, what happens in the meiosis? The parent cell give rise to the two daughter cells in which the genetic recombination is very important, and from those two daughter cells you will get the four different daughter cells which are having the less number, matlab, half number of the chromosomes compared to the parent cell. So you will be having a four cells, but they are not be exactly same to the parent cell. Okay, so this is meiosis which occurs in germ cells. Germ cells are the cells that create reproductive cells called gametes. So gametes are produced in male as well as in female. A reproductive cell of the body, germ cells are egg cells in females and sperm cells in male. So this is a sperm cell which is present in male, and this is the egg cell which is present in female. So these are reproductive cells. They are also known as gametes. So meiosis takes place into these cells. Okay. See how the meiosis is taking place here. Genetic recombination is taking place, and then two daughter cells, and these two daughter cells again going under the process and forming four haploid new daughter cells. Okay. Now see the difference between meiosis and mitosis. Four cells are produced at the end of meiosis. Here you can see one parent cell give rise to four daughter cells. Okay. In meiosis, the chromosome number is reduced to half in each new daughter cell than the parent cell. Here you can see the 2n number of chromosome, whereas in daughter cells you will find only a single number of whatever the number of chromosomes are there, half of those will be in the daughter cells. Okay. Here, mitosis, two cells are produced at the end of mitosis. In mitosis, the chromosome number in each daughter cell remains the same like the parent cell. So, exactly similar daughter cells you will find in the mitosis. One parent cell will give rise to two daughter cells. They will be having the exact number of chromosomes like a parent cell. This you have done in your chapter number 2. Significances of mitosis. Growth of the body. Mitosis helped into the growth of the body. Restoration of emaciated body. Emaciated means very thin body. Very, very thin. Extreme weight loss and unnatural thinness due to loss of subcutaneous fat and muscles throughout the body. Very thin body. We can restoration of this body needs a mitosis, wound healing, and formation of blood cells. Okay, these are the significance of mitosis. Significance of meiosis, it helps in the reproduction or fertilization, and genetic recombination give rise to the variations in the species. Chromosomes are thread-like structure present in the nucleus which carries genetic information from one generation to another. Here you can see these chromosomes are present inside the nucleus which carries the genetic material from one generation to another. They plays a vital role in cell division, heredity, variation, mutation, repair and regeneration is the main role. Passed from parents to offspring during cell division, DNA contains the specific instruction that makes each type of living organism unique. See, you are getting one cell from male and one from female, and from union of that you will get a new offspring. So you will be resemble to your parent cell. You will be having some similar features of your body like your parents. This is because of chromosomes. Cell division is also critical in more life processes, which is reproduction. So today we are going to start with the reproduction. This is a non-essential to live. This process is not essential to live, but important. Why it is important? Because reproduction does not help the organism to remain alive, but helps to maintain the continuity of the species of that organism. To maintain the continuity in the environment, reproduction is important. Process of reproduction does not help the organism to remain alive, but it helps to maintain the continuity of the species of that organism. So we can keep continuity of the species on the earth with the help of reproduction. See, what is reproduction? Formation of new organism of same species by earlier existing organism is called reproduction. It is one of the various important characteristics of living organism. It also one of the various reasons responsible for evolution of each species. Now see, what do you mean by the maintenance of species? The process of reproduction helps to increase the number of organisms of a species by which the species can prevent himself from being extinct. This is called maintenance of species. Let us see here. We all know that the lifespan of every organism is fixed. It ultimately dies. Hence, it becomes necessary to produce new organism, right, for continuity of life. Here you can see human being after a lifespan of 70 or 100 years, it will going to die. Here I have given us lifespan of frog. After 5 to 8 years, it will come to end. Bean plant, after a year, it will die. Bacteria, after 20 minutes, it will die. But what they do, they reproduce their offsprings and then they die to continue their for the continuation of life. Okay. Living organisms produce more individual of their kind to maintain their species on the earth. See, to maintain their species on the earth, what they do, they produce new individuals. Okay, like human beings, every organism, what they do, they produce new individuals on the earth to maintain their species. What is the relationship between the cell division and formation of new organism of same species by earlier existing organism? In case of sexual reproduction, the parent cell divides to form two similar daughter cells. This occurs by the type of cell division called mitosis. You learn this. In case of sexual reproduction, gametes are formed by the type of cell division called meiosis. These gametes fuse to form a new organism. Okay, here mitosis and meiosis is given, where the mitosis gave rise to two daughter cells which are exactly similar to parent cell. In the meiosis, you will find the genetic recombination where you will find four haploid cells which are not similar to the parent cell. See here, you can see not identical and identical offsprings because of DNA present into them. DNA decides whether they will be exactly similar or they will be having some kind of a variation into the species. Now see types of reproduction. There are two types. One is asexual reproduction and then is a second is sexual reproduction. Today we are going to talk about the asexual reproduction. What is asexual reproduction? Process of formation of new organism by an organism of same species without involvement of gametes is called asexual reproduction. Here you will not, it is a uniparental reproduction where you will not find a fusion of gametes. Male gamete and female gametes are absent here. Only a one parent cell will give rise to the new offspring. The process of formation of new organism by an organism of same species without involvement of gamete. Here you can see a plant is giving rise to the new plant. Okay, it is reproducing a new plant without the fusion of gametes. This is called a asexual reproduction. Again, I am repeating, process of formation of new organism by an organism of same species without involvement of gamete is called asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is uniparental reproduction where you need only one parent and by that parent you can give rise to the new offsprings. Here you can see a plant is giving rise to a new plant. Okay. Exact genetic similarity. You will find the exactly similar daughter plant or new plant like a parent plant. They will be having a exact genetic similarity. Then absence of genetic recombination is a drawback of asexual reproduction. Fast process is its advantage. So here I said genetic recombination is not taking place. So you will not get the variations in the offsprings. They will be exactly similar to the parent cell. And it is a drawback. But if you talk about the where the fusion of gametes is taking place in sexual reproduction, you will find the variations in offsprings. So it is a drawback. And what is the advantage of this process? Advantage of this process is this is a fast process. Within a short period of time, you will give rise to many offsprings. So significances of asexual reproductions are it does not need mate or gametes. It is uniparental process. It is very fast process. Within short period of time, they give rise to many same organisms. These are the significances. Let us move to the types of asexual reproduction. Types of asexual reproductions are fission, fragmentation, budding, regeneration, vegetative propagation, spore formation. These are the types by which the asexual reproduction is taking place. See, this is a fission, this is budding, regeneration, vegetative propagation, and spore formation. Now, asexual reproduction is taking place in unicellular organism as well as in multicellular organism. See, asexual reproduction is taking place in unicellular organisms. So, which are the unicellular organisms? Amoeba, Paramecium, Euglena, and multicellular organisms like Hydra, lizard, starfish, etc. So we will learn one by one. First of all, we'll go for the asexual reproduction in unicellular organisms. So here just observe this figure. Here you can see the unicellular organisms. Uni means one. So unicellular organism means one-celled organism, or you can say single-celled organisms. So here you can see amoeba, this is paramecium, this is euglena. See, these are the unicellular organisms. Mitochondria is a cell organism within the cell, and this is a chloroplast. Now, first type is a fission, type of asexual reproduction. Let us learn the type of asexual, that is a fission, how the fission is taking place. Fission, it occurs in single cell organisms belonging to the kingdom Protista and Monera. It is further divided into two types, that is binary fission and multiple fission. Fission means nothing but dividing into two. Okay, it is taking place in unicellular organism. Examples here given, that amoeba, paramecium and euglena is given. And this fission has two types. The first is binary fission and multiple fission. Here, I have shown you the picture where the binary fission is taking place. Bi means two. So when the organism is divided into two, only a simple way they are just dividing into two. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so binary fission is the mode of reproduction in amoeba. In this process, one parent cell is divided into two equal daughter cells. Binary fission occurs when environmental conditions are favorable. Conditions are favorable means what? When you will be having plenty of food, water, and suitable temperature. So at that time, binary fission is taking place. See, binary fission is usually performed by living organism during favorable conditions. Here you can see a plenty of water, food material, and a temperature. Proper temperature is there. At that time, the binary fission is taking place. See how the amoeba is gulping a food material. This is the amoeba. These are the pseudopodias, extending pseudopodias or false feet, you can say. How the amoeba is moving ahead. He is extending his pseudopodia, or you can say a false foot. Okay, with the help of pseudopodia, he moves. And here he has grabbed the food material and he is eating a food material. Okay. Now, how they reproduce? See, axis of fission or division is different in different protists. So this is amoeba, this is paramecium, and this is euglena. See how they divide themselves. Here you can see amoeba. Amoeba has no definite shape. So in any direction, he can divide himself into two. See, in any direction, he can divide himself into two and he can reproduce. Okay. Here you can see a paramecia has a definite shape. It is a slipper-like, chapel-like type shape here he is having. So he divides transversally. Okay. He divides himself in transverse way. Here Euglena is also have a definite shape. He divides himself longitudinally. So axis of fusion or division is different in different proteins according to their shape. Okay. Amoeba doesn't have any kind of a shape. So in any direction he can divide. Paramecium divides transversally and Euglena longitudinally. Due to lack of specific shape, amoeba divides in any plane. Just now I showed you the axis where see here, this is the amoeba. He is extending his pseudopodia in any direction. He has no definite shape. So amoeba divides in any plane. This kind of a fission is known as simple binary fission. In any, he divides in any plane. So this is called as simple binary fission. Paramecia. Paramecium divides across the transverse plane. See here, he divides himself transversally. So this is called as transverse binary fission. Okay. Euglena, here you can see a Euglena divides across the longitudinal plane vertically. So longitudinal binary fission. He divides himself longitudinally. He reproduces by dividing himself longitudinally. So it is a longitudinal binary fission. This is all about binary fission. Now we will move to the multiple fission. What is multiple fission? Formation of more than two individuals under unfavorable conditions. So examples are amoeba and plasmodium. So just now we have seen where the favorable conditions are there, the animal divides themselves into two with the binary fission. But when there is a unfavorable conditions, what happens? In unfavorable conditions, how this divides, see multiple fission is taking place. A single parent cell is giving rise to many daughter cells. Okay. So in this condition, what happens? See amoeba, here I have given you example. You may get this picture to explain, okay, or to draw or to rearrange any kind of a question you may get. So in amoeba stop the formation of pseudopodia and thereby movements where whenever there is lack of food or other type of adverse condition. What he do? He stops his movement. These are the pseudopodia. He stops his movement and he becomes rounded in shape. Okay, it becomes rounded. Protective covering around the plasma membrane. He forms a protective covering around himself. That is called as the cyst. Okay, cyst is a liquid filled sac, or you can say a bladder. So this is amoeba, becomes round in shape and forms a protective sheet around himself. And then what happens in unfavorable conditions? He start dividing the himself inside. The nucleus is getting dividing, the cytoplasm is also dividing, and it forms a many amoebulae. Okay. And in favorable conditions, what happens? This cyst breaks open and give rise to the many amoebulae in the environment. That is nothing but the daughter cells. Okay. So in this way, the multiple fission is taking place. A single parent cell is giving rise to many daughter cells. Here you can see. This is called as a multiple fission. So this is about the fission. We have learned about the fission. Fission is taking place. Fission means dividing into two simply, and they have two types: binary fission and multiple fission. Binary means divided into two. Multiple means giving rise more than two, division into more than two. Now let us move to the next type, that is a budding, a type of asexual reproduction in unicellular organism. So budding is also a type of asexual reproduction in unicellular organism. Budding is a form of asexual reproduction where a bud or outgrowth from the end or the side of the parent organism emerges and then develops into a new organism. A parent cell gives rise to a bud or a outgrowth comes out of the parent cell, and that outgrowth develop into the new organism. See here, I have given you example of yeast. So parent cell where you will find a small bird over here, and that bird will develop into a daughter cell. Okay, here in this GIF, you can see how the outgrowth is coming from the parent, and that outgrowth, see here also the outgrowth is coming, and then they get separated from the parent cell and live as a new individual. So this is nothing but the budding in yeast. So here we have completed asexual reproduction in unicellular organism. In unicellular organism, you will find a fission and budding. In fission, you will find two types, binary fission, multiple fission. And budding you will find in yeast. Now we will move to the next one, is that asexual reproduction in multicellular organisms. Multicellular organisms means they are having more than two cells. So fragmentation, regeneration, vegetative propagation, spore formation, and budding. So these are not unicellular organism, these are multicellular organism, and they are showing the reproduction type. So asexual reproduction in multicellular organisms. First of all, we see the fragmentation. This type of asexual reproduction occurs in multicellular organisms. In this type of reproduction, the body of parent organism breaks up into many fragments, and each fragment starts to live as an independent new organism. This type of reproduction occurs in algae like Spirogyra, sponges like Cycon. So here what happens? the the parent organism breaks up into many fragments. See here, this is a parent and they breaks into three fragments. This is a Spirogyra, and these three fragments grow and they live a individual life. So in this way, asexual reproduction is taking place in Spirogyra. This is nothing but the fragmentation. Fragments means to break. So parent cell, what they do, they break themselves into different parts, different fragments, and those fragments develops and live into the new Spirogyra. See here, you can see in this type of reproduction, the parent body breaks into two or more fragments or pieces, and upon maturation, they live like a new, each fragment then develops into a new organism. So this is fragmentation. See, it breaks and two Spirogyra, then they develop and they leave a mature, develop into a new organism. This is fragmentation. Next is budding. Budding is also taking place in multicellular organism. So in case of Hydra, under favorable conditions at specific part of its body, an outgrowth is formed by repeated division of regenerative cells of the body wall. This outgrowth is called a bud. Bud grows up progressively and finally forms a small Hydra. Dermal layer and digestive cavity of the budding hydra are in continuity with those of parent hydra. Parent hydra supplies nutrition to the budding hydra. Budding hydra separates from parent hydra and start to lead an independent life when it grows up and becomes able to lead an independent life. In hydra, so see, this is a hydra. In hydra, what happens? A small outgrowth is coming out on the parent cell, and it grows. See, the bird grows and it gets separate from the parent, and he start living the independent life. Dermal layer and digestive cavity of the budding hydra are in continuity with those of parent hydra. Parent hydra supplies nutrition to the budding hydra. Here you can see digestive tract and is continuation with the bird, and from there he is taking a nutrition. He grows, he matures and gets separated from the parent and start living the individual life, independent life you can say. This is budding in hydra. You may get this question in your exam. Draw the diagram of hydra and explain. Or you may get two separate questions. Draw a diagram of hydra, or you may get a full length question where draw the diagram of hydra and explain. Now we'll move to the regeneration. Regeneration, you may know that the wall lizard breaks up and discards some parts of its tail in emergency. Discarded part is regenerated after a period. This is an example of limited regeneration. However, under certain situations, an animal planaria breaks up its body into two parts, and thereafter each part regenerates remaining parts of the body, and thus two new planaria are formed. This is called regeneration. So you might have got the example, you might have seen the wall lizard. Okay, so see here, the wall lizard, what happens, it sheds its tail, and after few days you will find the new generated tail. This is called a limited regeneration. Here the tail is regenerated. And here the example, planaria, what he do, he cuts his body into different parts, and those parts again developed into the full organism, and these full organisms start living independently. So this is called a regeneration. Here starfish also, if he cuts himself accidentally into two parts, the two parts that develop themselves into the new organism. Or the arm also, if the arm is getting arm is also develops into the full mature starfish. This is nothing but the regeneration. Now next is vegetative propagation, how the vegetative propagation is taking place. Reproduction in plants with the help of vegetative parts like root, stem, leaf, and bud is called vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation in potatoes is performed with the help of eyes present on tuber, whereas in bryophyllum it is performed with the help of buds present on the leaf margin. In case of plants like sugarcane and grasses, vegetative propagation occurs with the help of bud present on the nodes. Plants like carrot and radish perform vegetative propagation with the help of roots. So here, with the help of root, stem, leaf, and bud, they are giving rise to the new individuals, you can say, or new life, that is called as vegetative propagation. See, reproduction in plants with the help of vegetative parts like root, stem, leaf, and bud is called vegetative propagation. Here you can see with the help of roots how the roots are developing a new plant. Here, potato, the example of potato is given where the bud develops into the new plant, and in bryophylla where the leaf, they will give rise to the new plant. This is called vegetative propagation. Reproduction is done with the help of vegetative parts. See, plants like carrot and radish perform vegetative propagation with the help of roots. Here, the roots, they develop into the new plant. In case of plants like sugarcane and grasses, vegetative propagation occurs with the help of buds present on the nodes. So these are the nodes where you will find the new plant is growing. Here grass, the grass is also showing a vegetative propagation with the help of buds present on the nodes. Next is bryophyllum. It is performed with the help of bud present on the leaf margin. Here you can see on the leaf margin you will find a bud present and that will grow into the new plant. So this is vegetative propagation. Now last is a spore formation. Fungi like mucor have filamentous body. They have sporangia. Once the spores are formed, sporangia burst and spores are released. Spores germinate in moist and warm place and new fungal colony is formed. So how the spore formation is taking place? See here. Here, fungi like mucor have filamentous body. This is a filamentous body. They have a sporangia. Here, they are having a sporangia. And in their sporangia, you will find a small spores. Okay. And when this, once the spores are formed, sporangia burst and spores are released. This sporangia, what happens with this? They burst open and the spores are spread, or they are released. Spores germinate in moist and warm place and new fungal colony is formed. They germinate and they forms a new fungal colony. In this way, the spores are germinated or reproduction is taking place. You can say spore formation. Spore formation in fungus. See filamentous body, they are having sporangium, and in that you will find a small spores. And once they develop, the sporangia burst and it releases the spores, and these spores germinate on the moist place and they forms a new fungal colony. So this is a one type of asexual reproduction in multicellular organism. So here we have taken the revision of chapter number 3, life processes in living organism, part 2. Here we have learned about the reproduction, types of reproduction. There are two types, asexual and sexual, and in that we have taken the revision of type of reproduction, that is asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is taking place in unicellular as well as in multicellular organism. In unicellular, fission fission has two types, that is binary fission and multiple fission, as well as there is one more type, that is a budding. Yeast is an example of unicellular organism, how the asexual reproduction is taking place. And then we move towards the asexual reproduction in multicellular organism, where we have seen the fragmentation. The example is Pyrogyra. Budding, the example is Hydra. Regeneration, we have seen the example of lizard, planaria, starfish. And then uh, vegetative reproduction, where we have seen the root, stem, and leaf, how they are used to produce a new plant. Then we have done with the spore formation. Okay. Now, if you know the answer, just raise your hand. Define reproduction. Yes, anybody who wants to try, just give what is reproduction. Just raise your hand. At least give a try. What is reproduction? In your language also, answer is accepted by me. Just try. Anybody? Yes. Here I can see Prince.
Hello.
Yes. Yes, Prince.
Formation of new organism of Spain, same species.
Yes. Very good. By earlier existing organism is called reproduction.
Reproduction.
Very good, Prince. Very good. Okay, we'll go for the next, that is asexual reproduction. Now, anybody else wants to try what is asexual reproduction? What is asexual reproduction? Just raise your hand, try it. Okay, I'll give a hint. Whether this reproduction is taking place with the help of gametes, yes or no? They need gametes, male gamete and female gamete. They, yes or no? No, they doesn't need gametes. The process of formation of new organism by an organism of same species without involvement of gamete is called asexual reproduction. Now try for this. Which are the two methods of reproduction? Two methods of reproduction. One is given in the questions. Second one. Anybody here? Yes. Monu?
There are two types of reproduction, sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction.
Very good. Very simple. Very good. Very good, Monu. See, students, if you read your question paper correctly, thoroughly, you may find some answers in your questions, question bank or activity sheets. So likewise, here one answer was given and one you have to write down. Okay, now we'll go for the third one. Which are the types of asexual reproduction? Types of asexual reproduction. Anybody else wants to, anybody wants to try this answer? Types of asexual reproduction. Just now we have learned. Yes, again Prince and Mono. Okay, I'll go for the Prince. Prince,
Hello.
yes, try this.
Fission and
Very good.
fragmentation.
And I'm talking about the asexual reproduction here. All the types of asexual reproduction. Here I have not mentioned
Uh,
unicellular and multicellular. Okay, you have to write down all the types of asexual reproduction. Go. Fission, fragmentation, and
budding.
very good. Go next. Just now we have learned a very good, Prince. Anybody else here wants to try? He has given answer that fission, fragmentation, and budding. Now only three are remaining. Prince,
Vegetative reproduction.
vegetative propagation, yes. And lizard and starfish, what they show? Monu, you can try. Okay, what was the last one? Last one was spore formation. Lizard and starfish shows the regeneration. So there are types like fission, fragmentation, budding, vegetative propagation, regeneration, and spore formation. So thank you all students. Thank you for listening me. Read carefully. These are very important chapters. You may get questions based on this. And do your studies best. Try to write down all the answers for your activity sheet and come up with good marks. All the best.